Former Fox 32 Chicago political editor Mike Flannery is here now to give us some background and expert analysis.
Yeah, Mike, welcome back. Always good to see you. And I can't think of a better person to talk to than Mike Flannery about this case. One of the prosecutors called today's conviction historic. You've covered Madigan for a long time. So I want you to set this up for people who aren't familiar with him, with his impact in Illinois. How would you describe his power in Illinois and the significance of today's convictions?
Sylvia and Terrence, it's important to remember that Mike Madigan was in Springfield for more than half a century, state rep from the South Side, and he also served as the Speaker of the House, of the Illinois House, longer than anybody at any legislative chamber in all 50 states ever. He, at times, seemed to have more power than some governors, not all governors, but this is truly an earthquake, as Paris Schutz described this conviction. That said, I do think that Madigan had nothing to lose by taking the witness stand and testifying in his own defense. And, you know, it seemed that the jury bought at least some of his description of how he viewed his own job. Malik, that juror that we heard from earlier, a few moments ago, said at another point that he believed that Madigan actually thinks that what he was doing isn't wrong, that it's just the way of doing political business. And I think that was a key piece, Sylvia and Terrence, in why Madigan was not convicted on that racketeering count. That was the most serious, the racketeering conspiracy count. That was the most serious he faced.
Mike, I'm curious, were you surprised at all that McClain avoided any convictions?
You know, I think, again, Terrence, you know, the jury, or at least some members of the jury, were skeptical about indicting a lobbyist. One of the jurors testified, I think again it was Malik, who had answered questions as he was being selected for the jury, and he was asked about what's lobbying, what it is, and he said, well, it's bribery to get a lawmaker to agree with your position. You know, others on the jury seem to feel this is just what lobbyists do.
Okay, Mike, so Illinois has a reputation for being one of the most corrupt states in the country. With the political climate that we have now, with the pardons being given to corrupt politicians, what kind of message does today's conviction send, do you think?
Well, I think the feds were eloquent. You know, the acting U.S. Attorney Morris Pasquale and the FBI and IRS special agents in charge said they talked about the historic nature of this. If Mike Madigan can be brought down on these kinds of charges, then every other politician in Illinois ought to be put on notice that they could be brought down too. I do think that you know, this does also shatter the last of the big Democratic ward-based political organizations. The old time machine, you know, it's dead and gone with Eddie Burke and Madigan's convictions and those of some others previously. You know, the new machine is the Public Employees Union, led by the Chicago Teachers Union, who put thousands of workers in the precincts on every election and hand out millions and millions of dollars in contributions. That's the new machine. The old machine, typified by Mike Madigan, is dead and gone.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask you. You beat me to it. But for those of us who've been covering Illinois politics for a long time, it's incredible to see what came down today. You know, for those of us who are familiar and have followed him for years, talk about, wow, how the mighty have fallen, because he was very powerful.
Absolutely. You know, there's never been a lawmaker more powerful than Mike Madigan in the General Assembly.
All right. Thanks so much. Always good to see you, my friend. Thanks for visiting with us this afternoon and breaking this down. We appreciate it.
Great to talk.